Welcome to Family Basics 101. I'm Dr. Bruce McClure, and as we conclude our 5-part series entitled Marriage Is, today we will talk about marriage is the grooming ground for children. Dr. Anthony Roach of Abilene, Texas, who is the author of God's Love Bank, teaches an excellent saying. What you see is what you say. What you say is what you sow. What you sow is what you reap. What you reap is what you are. What you are is what you give, and what you give is what you get, and what you get is what you deserve. That's true with individuals in a marriage, be it the husband or the wife. But whatever the two individuals, the husband and the wife, say is what they are both sowing into the development or the grooming ground for the child that ultimately and potentially could be in that marriage. And whatever you say and whatever you sow is what is going to be harvested. And the children in the home are going to witness the harvest, the reaping of the mother and the father in the home. And whatever the harvest is, that's what the mother and the father has defined as the substance of the marital relationship. So marriage factually exists as the grooming ground for children. And whatever you reap is going to be whatever you give. So as you groom your children in the marital relationship, whatever the harvest is going to be the distribution out of the home and into the lives of others. Every marriage, if there are children in the relationship, your marriage, not the public school system, not the boys club, not the girls club, not the social organizations, not even the church, but the marriage is the grooming ground for the children in the home. Dr. Roach also noted that children are excellent observers, but very poor interpreters of the world around them. So children that grows up in a home and they hear inappropriate things, they see inappropriate things, they watch inappropriate transactions coming from the mom and from the dad. The child is observing every iota of what mom and dad in the marriage are doing, and in essence, mom and dad are the grooming ground for the children, and the children are going to interpret what they observe in a very poor way. Indeed, children are being developed in the relationships. When children are in the relationship with the mom and dad, the home becomes the primary teaching ground for the development and the future of the child. According to an old song by Harry Chapman, my child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking forever I knew it. And as he grew, he'd say, "I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you." And then the reverb, and the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. "When are you coming home, Dad? I don't know when, but we'll get together then, son. You know we'll have a good time then." Chapman goes on, "My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, 'Thanks for the ball, Dad. Come on, let's play.' 'Can you teach me to throw?' I said, 'Not today. I got a lot to do,' he said. And the son said, 'That's okay.' And he walked away, but his smile never dimmed. And he said, 'I'm going to be like him.' Yeah, you know I'm going to be like him." Well, he came home from college just the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, "Son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while?" He shook his head and he said with a smile, "What I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later. Can I have them, please?" I've long since retired. My son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, "I'd love to, Dad, if I could find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle, and the kids have the flu. But it's sure been nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you." And as my son hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And then the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, Little Boy Blue and the Man on the Moon. You see, the marriage, the family, the home is indeed the grooming ground for children. Even the singer Harry Chapman understood that. In the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse number 6, train, the direct command is for the parent, the husband, the wife. You train. Who is to do the training for a child? It's the people who birth the child. The one in the marriage is to train. How are you going to train them? Train them up. Movement away from that which is and into a more elevated place. Don't train them down. Don't direct them downward. Don't direct them into bitterness, and don't direct them to wrath and isolation and anger and disconnected emotionally. Train them up. Train who? A child. It's difficult to grow up a grown man and a grown woman. The text says, train up an infant. Each child, as that child is birthed into the world, you begin training that child up in the way, not necessarily the way you were trained, not necessarily the way you were explained life, but you train the child up in the way they should go. And that requires a lot of humility from a married couple, because then it requires the parents to admit the way I was trained may have not been the best way of training, but I'm going to train my child up in the way that he should go or she should go, school-wise, work-wise, marriage-wise, and even child-rearing-wise. I'm going to admit to my children the failures, the disappointments, the disillusionments, the things that weren't right. And I'm going to say to them, but it's going to be better for you. And when they are old, the text says, they will not leave it. When they are wiser than they are as a child, they will not leave the grooming received from you as the married couple. Marriage is indeed the grooming place for children. I'll see you back in class again next time. Don't be late and don't skip class.